Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we just saw what was the wildest game of the Sweet 16. Texas A&M came back from 12 points down with 1:52 left on the clock to force overtime. Houston had 4 players foul out, including their 3 best guards. A walk-on went to the free throw line in a game with 17 seconds left. Houston up by 3. And the Sweet 16 on the line. He played 173 minutes in his career. He knocked down a free throw. The Cougars were able to hold on and win.
Key to the city. Key to the city.
NIL deal coming soon.
Yes. You think Doster would have knocked down that free throw? He goes to the line for 2 shots.
I would have made 1 or 2.
I think you would have bricked both.
Made 1 or 2.
I know you would have bricked both.
Well,
this ain't Papa shot.
Yeah. Anything's possible. Jacoby Walter missed 2, tied the game, 80%.
Yep. I would have made 1 or 2. But the Sweet 16 now is more or less set. San Diego State is up by 25 on Yale with 10 minutes left in the second half. And barring a Texas A&M-esque comeback, we have our Sweet 16 is good to go. Before we talk about what the actual matchups are, though, T.O., how ridiculous was that game that we just watched? It was the first actual buzzer beater of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that was it was crazy to see. I'm always a big fan of the screen-to-screener play where you have a 2-bouncer to the top of the key that ends up in a 3-point attempt that goes in. That is college basketball at its finest. Just how Buzz drew it up. Nope. Hey, big-time shot at the end. We knew this was going to be a physical game coming into it, and it certainly lived up to that billing. Both teams really battled. Houston fouled out almost their whole team, and I thought it wasn't just going to be Elvin. There was going to be a water boy or two who was going to have to get some minutes.
Yeah, physical, tough battle. We knew that was going to be the case. Credit A&M for fighting back, and Houston for staying in it with foul trouble essentially from the start of the game. And today has been a hell of a day.
It's a great day.
Great day. This week has been a hell of a week. Everything's blended together. I don't even know what day it is. What day is it? Sunday?
It's today Sunday.
It's time to go home after this, Henson. Okay. It's time to go home. We've got a Sweet 16, and we got Houston-Duke. But to me, all that said was this is the toughest team in America. There are more talented teams. We know that.
Yeah.
But, you'll put them against anybody. They're going to fight you. I mean, again, like you said, this kid Elvin comes in 173 minutes the whole year. He's a walk-on. Juwan Roberts is not healthy. He's out there. He maybe shouldn't even be out there. Like what Kelvin Sampson has done with this program, with his team, getting them to the Sweet 16 right now, I just hope they get healthy enough that they can have a chance here to compete for a national title. Because, again, they're one of my favorite teams to watch because of the culture and how friggin' hard they play.
Yes.
How about the fact there were 75 free throws taken?
Are we surprised?
How long was the game? 3 hours?
It was long enough to piss off Trevor.
All right, so the Sweet 16 is officially set. Here are the matchups that we had. UConn and San Diego State in the East on one half of the bracket, and Illinois, Iowa State on the other half of the bracket. Down in the West, we have North Carolina taking on Alabama, who was able to hold off Grand Canyon today, and Arizona will be taking on Clemson. We have Purdue and Gonzaga, which to me looks like the most intriguing matchup that we're going to get in the Sweet 16. And on the other side of that region is Creighton and Tennessee. And then out in the South, we have Houston taking on Duke and NC State taking on Marquette. Here's my biggest takeaway from this, guys. Cinderella is dead. Okay?
Yeah.
Get her out of here.
Cinderella has died.
Send her ass home.
Cinderella right now. They're Cinderella.
You cannot be a Cinderella
They're
if you're
Cinderella.
the ACC champion.
Cannot
I'm
be
not
Cinderella
allowing
when
it.
the
You
ACC
cannot be a Cinderella if you're the
champion.
ACC champion. Every number 1 and number 2 seed has made it to the Sweet 16 for the first time
Plus,
since
have you
2009.
seen Keith's shoes on the sideline?
Who's? Keats?
Keith's shoes?
Oh, I'm sure they were awesome.
Those aren't slippers.
That Range Rover isn't a carriage either.
Those are, I'm pretty sure those are Louis Boutins.
Yeah, I was going to say. So all the number 1 and number 2 seeds made it to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2019. We have 2 number 3 seeds. We have 2 number 4 seeds. We have 2 number 5 seeds. We have a 6, and we have NC State. It's as chalk of an NCAA tournament as we've seen since 2019 when all of the top 3 seeds made it. 1 5 seed made it, and 1 12 seed, Oregon, made it to the Sweet 16. So here's what I want to hit you guys with. Parity has been the talk of the sport nonstop for the last 2, 3, 4 years. NIL, transfer portal, immediately eligible guys. It makes it so that the little guy can compete with the big guy more. Well, John Henson, apparently that might not actually be true.
Yeah, you got your big dogs and your heavy hitters in the Sweet 16, and it's going to be some really, really good games. I think the Duke-Houston game is going to be so good. I think Duke's in trouble, but it's kind of like
we thought Duke was in trouble today, though.
Yeah,
we did. We thought Duke was in trouble.
If Duke would have been in that game tonight with Houston, the way they were, God bless.
There'd have been some broken arms.
Yeah, it's what it been. So it's going to be fun. I'm glad all the good teams, all the big-time teams made it. That's going to be good for the game. I'm excited to watch some of these matchups that we've been dreaming about. And no matter what happens, there's still going to be dream matchups in the regional finals as well. So it's going to be a fun weekend.
That's the beauty, right? Like, what do we want? If you could script it one way, you'd say, like, get a half a dozen good upsets in the first round and then have the big boys advance. And that's what happened. Like, I'm surprised. I got to say that. I am surprised because I felt like it would be like last year. I felt like we'd have two teams. Certainly at this point, you'd have two teams like FAU and San Diego State from a year ago. We don't even have that in the Sweet 16. Yeah. We had that last year all the way to the Final Four. I am surprised with the COVID year, with the transfer portal, with all those things that we don't have some of those mid-majors per se advancing. You know, team in the Mountain West. Obviously, San Diego State's still there right now, but they're not what they were even last year. Like, they have more credibility coming in.
They also play UConn next,
right?
Which is like
going to be tough.
And I think the noise that we saw with underdog noise, I think it's been louder than I've ever seen in the game, where teams know what they're up against. They know what the public is thinking. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that, Mark Sears' uncle isn't like, hey, look, man, they think y'all going to lose today. I was watching ESPN. Like, that happens, right? So I think that also has to do with the underdogs not advancing as far as we thought, because now these teams are coming in like, whoa. I've been hearing all week, all day, or the last couple of days that we're going to lose. And, when certain teams win, you talk to them and say, hey, look, we heard the noise, and we played better. So I think that happened this year a lot more than it has been.
Yeah, I'm not all that surprised by it, because one of the things that we had said all season long is, like, there's a cutoff, right? We said it on I think it was on the Selection Sunday show. Maybe it was us on the DTF podcast, Theo. But we said that there's a pretty clear cutoff past the 4 seeds, right? Like, I couldn't see many teams past the 4 seeds capable of getting to a Final Four, and not really anything saying, like, I think they can have a real shot of actually winning a national title. So I'm not that surprised.
But Sweet 16, we're not that far in.
It's just because you see the cutoff of teams, and it sometimes it feels like it is what it is, and it feels like.
Don't we say that every year, though? I feel like we say that every year, like 10, 12 teams, right? Don't we say it every year, 10 or 12 teams?
There's a handful of teams that can win it, but there's a big drop between the top 15 and 16 and everybody else in the field. Go look at the 5 seeds. Outside of Gonzaga, who did you think before the tournament started, like, that could actually win it? There's a reason why everybody picked, like, all of the 12 seeds to win. That was the most
was it better? We had Utah covering, James Madison covering, and then one more that was the most heavily bet. They all did. Marquette covering, and none of those.
McNeese State, right? Everybody thought they'd win.
Yeah.
One quick point about. We see all the big dogs in the Sweet 16 this year. No real surprises. I think there was a time where NIL was going to be, like, it could be a differentiator if you were ahead of the curve. Now, I think the big dogs are going to have the most money. It's just going to be a lot of the same thing.
But don't you think
now that it evens out a little
there's
bit.
still, like, more distractions, all those things with these teams that have NIL, or does that not matter when you get to the NCAA tournament at all? At this point?
At this point, no.
I just think it could have caused, like, more chemistry.
If
Benson was talking about the chemistry maybe at Alabama. Like those things might have played in during the year. I don't know. I didn't expect this.
I think depending on, with the high-level teams, you got to think, like, the starting 5, it's kind of like the NBA. You got your max guy, and, you got your guys that are making their money.
That's what people need to realize.
But there are so many mid-major transfer-up guys now at the high-major level.
There's a lot of guys.
You know what I mean? Like Aaron Estrada goes, he's playing big minutes in Alabama. You don't know how that's going to translate. again, listen, it is what it is. I think it's good for the tournament.
But the guys playing in Real Madrid, they come to the NBA, they're not going to get max money.
Right.
Like it's the same thing. It's just not going to happen. Like to me, like this is starting to even out a little bit.
The gap still is closed. Is as
I think it's
tight
starting
as it's been in forever. And again, next year when the COVID in 2 years, right? 2 years, not next year. When the COVID year goes away,
the extra year,
then I think the gap will start to expand again to what it was. But I guess that's why it's my biggest surprise.
All right, listen. Let's. Jeff's going to take a phone call, which is something that happens when we're in coaching change season.
Yeah.
Let's start with this. I want to go to the Midwest region first. Purdue absolutely dog walked Utah State today.
Yeah, they did.
And here's the crazy part. I thought Utah State had a terrific game plan. I thought they did really well for the first 15 minutes, executing in the way to slow down Zach Edey, what you have to do with that lineup. Then Purdue went on a little bit of a run, and Utah State had their spirits broken, and they got 40-pieced. So now we get Purdue, Gonzaga on one side. We get Creighton, Tennessee on the other side. I feel like Detroit is the spot you want to be next weekend.
I kid you not. Today, I was watching the game in the room. It was like 24, 20-something, 28, something like that. I fall asleep.
Yeah.
I wake up, Purdue's up 40.
Yeah, I know. This is the exact same thing happened to me.
I was like, what happened?
Purdue's got 90 points.
I would have at least thought it was being
Where
a
have I
little
been?
I saw the highlights. I saw the numbers. I mean, at the beginning of the game, Utah State looked pretty good, but it seems like they ran out of bodies. Zach Edey was getting deep post position, which is you definitely can't do with him on that. And,
you can't do anything.
They look good.
Yeah.
They look good.
And Purdue Utah State got overzealous trying to strip the ball from Zach Edey. Can't do it. You're going to foul him. You might as well just square him up and hope.
Yep.
That's what you're doing against him when you have that big a size discrepancy.
All right, so let me ask you this.
He was beating up Utah State like I saw Rip Hamilton beat up a couple of teams in the NBA.
So Purdue, Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga actually has – if there's a team that kind of has the size to be able to deal with Purdue's big guys, or with Zach Edey, you got Braden Huff, you got Ben Gregg, you got Anton Watson, you got Graham Ike. Like half of their rotation is quite literally centers. Do they have a chance?
They do. They do. They have the bodies to throw at him. I just wonder if they're going to have enough size to – you saw today when he gets deep position, and we haven't seen that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And if Gonzaga doesn't push him out and make him take a tough twos, it's going to be a long day for them. I've actually been down on Purdue. They look good today. I think they beat Gonzaga, though.
Yeah,
I
think their biggest problem is going to come in the Elite Eight. Whoever wins between Creighton and Tennessee, that's where it's going to get interesting. I think that's where Purdue's going to have their biggest challenge up to this point. Obviously, up to this point, but Gonzaga just as much as I love them.
Yeah. Can I say no shot?
No shot.
No shot for the Zags.
Why?
I just think Purdue's on a mission.
Yes.
Like, they're on a mission. Those guys are playing. Like,
they scored 106
Zach
points.
Edey is going to eat them up. And they don't have – they've got some front court bodies. They do. But I think even the perimeter of Purdue, and you saw Trey Kaufman-Wren look good today. Like, they've just got a lot of dudes right now. And I think Painter's kind of figured out the rotation, the matchups. And I think you could see more Trey Kaufman-Wren again. Like, Edey and Trey Kaufman-Wren. Like, that's going to be dominant against Gonzaga's front line. And I think the guards are much better and deeper. You've got a lot more guards, a lot more perimeter guys that you can rotate in.
Hey, man,
Cam Heide.
Braden Smith.
Freaking Cam Heide.
God.
He literally, Cam Heide would start for like 350 teams. He barely plays for Purdue. Like, I think they're on a mission. Again, I think they get to the Final Four. I don't know if they win the whole thing, but, man, they just – you saw it with Virginia the year after. You saw how connected they were.
Yeah.
I think this team
the
has –
Virginia one, the difference with the Virginia run is that was quite literally a miracle. What people don't remember about that run is they were down 12 with like 6 minutes left against Oregon in the Sweet 16. They were down 14 to Gardner-Webb in the first round. They needed Kyle Guy to get, I'm doing air quotes, Auburn fans, fouled and hit all 3 free throws with a second left to be able to get to the national title game.
It's been a rough
They
series
needed
for
DeAndre
Auburn.
Hunter to hit a 3 with 11 seconds left to get the national title game to overtime. That was a miracle run. Purdue was just blasting people, and I think that they blast Gonzaga, and I think that they are going to have a fight on their hands against either Tennessee or Creighton, that's going to be – I'll tell you this. Purdue-Creighton would be the best Elite Eight game that we're going to get.
If Creighton gets to that point, Kalkbrenner may not be able to stop Edey, but he can contain him. And if you don't put the defense at a disadvantage with Purdue, what's your offense, right? Like, are we living with Zach Edey contested twos? You're going to lose. So I wonder how that's going to work out. And if Kalkbrenner gets in foul trouble, Creighton's also in trouble. So I wonder how they're going to play that.
All right, I was just so impressed with Purdue's defense today. Like it's been that way all year. I mean, this is nothing new, but I'm sitting there watching some of these guys get over top of screens. They switched the 4-5. Utah State tried to get the matchup they wanted with Zach Edey out on the perimeter. He moves his feet. I think he only had one play where they got past him and he fouled. But other than that, like, he stayed in pretty good position. Purdue is on a mission, like Jeff said, and defensively, that's kind of where I was shocked a little bit today.
Yep. All right, listen. When we come back, we're going to break down the South region because it is set. Houston, Duke, Marquette, NC State. We got 3 games from that region we got to talk about, including the Blue Devils, who every one of my parlays today had James Madison in some form or another. James Madison lost by 40. I got to eat that one. That's next.